Hello everyone, this is your host Neil Nayyar, and you can watch Jess TV on Meta TV, SSH101 TV, Roku TV, and JessFM.ca. And again, I'm your host Neil Nayyar, and we have a special guest here with us today who is a very popular Hollywood producer named Sebastian Twardosz. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
Of course. And, I have read about your work, and your work is so incredible. And even I got inspired by your work. So,
I'm just a survivor, that's all.
Excellent. So, your journey is unique, from growing up in Detroit after going from Poland to working at major studios like Paramount early in your career. And looking back, was there a pivotal moment or decision that fundamentally changed how you approach storytelling or production?
Well, so you want to know the moment that changed how I approach storytelling or production?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know that that's ever changed. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do when I was 11 years old. So I just, all I did was just pursue that since I was 11. I don't know that my anything has changed per se about how I perceive storytelling, although now, if you want to talk about the present, I'm very open to all formats of storytelling. There are a lot of people who are afraid of, for instance, verticals and things like that. I just think that's another format, another avenue for telling stories and engaging with your audience. So I'm totally in favor of it, actually. And I just think even AI, I'm not afraid of AI. I mean, you're afraid of things that you don't understand or know, and I certainly don't understand or know a lot of the things that are coming our way. But I'm open to them and learning it, and like everybody else. And I just think it's I think it's a really good time to be in the business, actually.
Excellent. So you have worn many hats, like agent assistant, development executive, producer, educator, and mentor. So how have these diverse roles influenced your philosophy about what makes a film meaningful or impactful today?
Well, I don't like to call myself any one thing, and when people try to introduce me, I usually don't like the way I get introduced. I just, I like filmmaking. I consider myself a filmmaker, and I like it to be kind of generalized and sometimes obtuse in that sense, because I think filmmakers should be able to do a lot of different things or understand all aspects of making movies or series, etc. And there are some things that I know better than others, and there are things that I need to learn a lot more. But I like to have different hats. Also, I think just in the business right now, to survive, you have to be able to do a lot of different things, open to doing a lot of different things. And of course, everything's collaborative. So you have to, work with a lot of different people. Like recently I was at Panavision, and I'm working on this new film, and the filmmakers, they're all in their 20s, and they were joking. So like, how does it feel to be sitting here with, people, we were just in our teens like a few years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is how you survive. This is how you make it. You have to be able to work with everybody. And to me, working with people who are much younger than me is good, because that will elongate how much longer I get to work with. So I think it's important to be versatile.
Excellent. So when you first realized you wanted to make movies, what was the biggest misconception you had about industry, and how did reality differ?
Okay, well, that's Yeah, that's the key. It is very different than what I thought it would be. But like when you're young, because remember I was 11, so when you're young, you have a very idealized version of the world in general. Not everything is black and white, and it's much more complex. It's different. It's different rules, because I was like super smart and I was really really good in school, but that doesn't really equate to anything in the business or in the real world per se. It's just a very I mean, it's such a such a broad question in actuality, but I would say it was very different in a lot of ways. I mean, if you ask me a more specific question, maybe I can answer that. But yeah, it was definitely eye opening to a kid who grew up in suburbia, where everyone's houses were basically the same. It was almost like Edward Scissorhands, where pretty much all the houses were the same, where there'd be like 2 or 3 different variances, and then coming to LA where it's completely different. Where I grew up was very homogenous. Here it's extremely diverse. Literally the topography where I grew up was very flat, and basically everything was on a grid because it was like a suburb after World War II, I guess. So it was and you come to LA, like it's hilly, there's mountains, everything drives and weaves around, and it's very different in every aspect from where I grew up.
Excellent, very cool, very cool. Now coming to independent filmmaking, like your work with surviving artists supports emerging filmmakers navigating festivals and distribution. So what's one unconventional strategy you have seen that helped an indie film break through where traditional appearances didn't?
So I wish there was a way to answer that, that it would be easier to answer. But the reality is it's almost impossible to know which films will kind of break through and which won't. I'm not going to say this, but I remember working on this one movie that I really thought the filmmakers were fantastic. They're super artistic. I like people who have, who have like a kind of a special vision or a different vision. I like people who are different just in general. And the filmmakers were like that. The movie was like that for sure. And but I said to myself, there's no way this is ever going to get into like a major festival. It's just too far out there. There's just no way. And I thought it would be the last festival. I remember saying that to a couple of my friends. I was like, I believe in the movie, but I'm like, I just didn't think anybody else would. And lo and behold, that movie got into South by Southwest. I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea. I mean, it just proved to me, it was just proof positive. You just don't know. You don't know which films are going to go to which festival or which films are going to break out, or you just don't. All you can do is work with people who you like on projects that you like, and do the best that you can. And just go the distance, never give up on the people or the project or any of that, and then see where you end up.
Excellent. So with so many films now made outside the studio system, what do you think distinguishes projects that truly resonate with audiences from those that get lost in the shuffle?
So this is one of the things I used to teach when I was at USC. For most people, you may only really get to make one movie. So I'd like to say, like, because you don't know if you're going to be able to find financing for another one, or where you're going to be in your life or anything like that. So you may only have one shot. And so I always say, just make the movie that you've always wanted to make. Make the best movie you can. I mean, make no matter what the genre is, like, make the Stanley Kubrick version of that. Put everything into it. Don't just, I like to say, don't waste your time making a movie that you think other people want to see. Make a movie that you want to see, and really put everything you can into it. So yeah, that's how I would answer that.
Wow. Interesting. what's the most common mistake you see first-time producers make, and how would you advise them to avoid it?
It's kind of similar to what I just said. I think so. To me, making a movie is like a special thing. It's a privilege to be able to make a movie because they're so hard to do. They're so complex. There's so many other people involved. All of it that I just think that you should really go for it in terms of, really caring about every aspect of it and putting all that you can into it. Developing the best script. Well, actually, that's one aspect right there. The main difference between like I'd say studio movies, that includes like major streamers like Netflix and Hulu and places like that. The main difference between what like A-level Hollywood does and what indie film do is that indie filmmakers often don't put enough time into developing the screenplay and the characters. They, because they're their own boss and they can just essentially they make the movie when they have the money to make the movie. That doesn't mean they're making the best version of the movie. I think indie filmmakers should spend a lot of time developing the story and the characters for their movie or for a vertical series or whatever it is that you're doing. That's so apply. I would like to say that applies to all aspects of it, but I think you should spend a lot of time developing it.
Nice. So you have taught film business and strategy at USC, UCLA, and beyond for years. So what's the most surprising question a student has ever asked you, and what did it reveal about the future of filmmaking?
Well, okay, that's also interesting. I actually have a lot of quotes on my website. If you go to like savantartist.com and you go to the page that has quotes, there's some student quotes on it. But actually, two of the best things I've heard anybody say, I'll tell you what they are that kind of stick with me. One is a filmmaker. His name's Sheldon Candace, and he's fantastic. You have to look up his movies. He has an amazing story. He really worked hard to get to where he's at. But he said one of the clearest things I've ever heard anybody say about the business, especially as it pertains to like A-level Hollywood. He said the following: "No is only no for now. No is only no for now," which is absolutely true, because people in Hollywood pass on your pitches for a movie all the time. But as soon as you have a change in elements or something that does get their attention, the no turns to a yes. So no is only no for now. I thought it was great. And then I actually heard a really interesting quote just the other day. And this is a friend of mine. So his name is Ron Bergman. He's the producer. He works alongside Rian Johnson. So he produced like, The Last Jedi and Knives Out and etc. And Ram had this quote, which was fantastic. So somebody asked him, another friend of mine asked him, he had like several projects that he could work on, movies, and so he asked Ram, he's like, I don't know, which project do you think I should do? Which movie should I make next? Was basically the question, or which movie should I make? And Ram's answer I loved. He said, the one that you're most afraid of.
Wow, that is interesting. And
so I put that on the page. It's like, I updated my page yesterday. I was like, that's such a, because I only heard that. Was it yesterday? I heard that from my friend. It was either yesterday or the day before, but anyway, I put it on my site yesterday. That's such a great quote. I love that quote.
Excellent. But yeah, I mean, for all the people who are filmmakers, listen to this, no is only no for now. Remember that. So if you could,
another way of saying never take no for an answer,
Yes, that is true. Correct. So if you could redesign a film school curriculum for today's industry, what key components would you include that are missing right now?
Two. One is ethics. So, like, if you go to business school, you have to take ethics,
Yeah.
and I think all film schools should have a required course for ethics, because people are out there making movies that absolutely 100% influence other people, and you have a responsibility, I think, um, for what you're putting out there. That's not to say that you can't do all kinds of genres, but you should be aware of what you're doing and
Hmm.
the ethics behind it. So I think I've actually pitched that to the dean at USC, and she agreed, but nothing's there's no ethics course. I think 100% every single film school should have a required course in ethics. Um, so there's that, and then the other thing that I would do, at least for film schools, is I think the more so most film schools are really what they do is they teach you how to succeed in that environment of the film school.
Oh.
But once you graduate, like, you're sort of on your own. So I think film schools should do as much as possible. Require, like, for instance, requiring internships. I think an internship should be required to graduate, because the more you're exposed to the real world of how you have to survive and how to make movies or how to make music videos or commercials or whatever that you're making, the better. Another friend of mine is like the head of a producing program at a very prominent film school on the East Coast, and I've been advocating for a while, like, your students, one thing you should know is you should find out who all the influencers are in your state. There's probably some big influencers there, like, and if you don't have them into your school, your classroom, especially since they're in your same state, they're not there actually speaking to your students, like, you have a problem because you're not doing right by your students. They have to get out there and succeed. Influencers are succeeding, and they're all self-motivated entrepreneurs, and they're I think people who go to film school should, no matter where you are, even if you're in a remote area, there's probably somebody relatively close that is an influencer, or that is doing something, and your school should know who they are, should be in contact with them, should be bringing them to the school, and you should be working on their sets, etc. There's just not enough of that. There's the adage that if what's the adage? I'm going to mess it up just because I mess things up all the time. But it's kind of like those who what is the adage? Those who do go and do it, and those who can't teach, whatever that adage is. And so the problem is a lot of film teachers aren't out there actually doing it in the trenches, and so that's the problem. So they don't realize what that world's like. They've taken themselves out of it in a sense. That was actually one of the reasons I stopped teaching. I taught for like 13 years. It was like 10 at USC, 4 at UCLA. There are a few other places that I worked on as well as a professor. But I felt like, okay, I got to get really back into the game, because I thought it was changing, and I wasn't in it enough anymore. So so yeah, and I think a lot of teachers just aren't keeping up with the reality of surviving out there.
Interesting. Well, I think like what you mentioned about business, and the other part, was it ethics, if I'm correct?
Ethics.
Ethics, yeah, ethics. I feel like I mean
you want to get into politics, that's a whole other thing. Not a good place.
But yeah, as you mentioned, I do agree with you that business and ethics should be in this film school. So yeah, film schools, add this as soon as possible. How has your perspective on mentorship evolved after interacting with thousands of aspiring filmmakers through the insiders and in your classes?
I mean, like I say, all you can do is encourage people to really, be here for the right reasons, to not let their voice get squashed in the environment. encourage them to be open to different things. Yeah, I mean, it's like plants. You just have to water the plant, and put it in good soil. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you try and help as many people as you can. I've always tried to be super helpful to people and getting them like their first jobs. I've done that for a lot of people. That does come back to you later in life as well, which is great. So, well, I definitely believe basically in paying it forward, and I think people should spend more time helping other people, and not just going it alone. Because the most important aspect, for instance, of a film school it's not the professors, it's not the equipment, it's not really even the classes, it's who you're in film school with. It's literally the other people you're going to school with. That's the most important part of film school. So yeah.
Excellent. So going into now trends and future of storytelling, film distribution and audience engagement have changed drastically in the last decade. So what's one trend you believe will reshape how films are financed or distributed in the next 5 years?
Well, 5 years, actually, it's not that long, and it is long. Nowadays, it seems like every day is like a new day. Wow, I mean it's just really hard to say, because Hollywood is rapidly changing, mostly because of AI and also social media, new formats, especially verticals. So it is actually, I will say this, there is no better time for somebody to break into the business. I mean, this is absolutely the best time ever, because it's completely democratized. All you really need is a phone and, be able to post. That's literally all you need. In a way, it's similar to before the technology came in. In reality, it was like writing. All you really have to do is write a good screenplay. If you wrote a good screenplay, people would find it. I mean, might take time, but it would be found. The trick back then was getting it to the right people, getting it into their hands. But so now you can essentially do that because technology has democratized everything. So essentially, anyone can do it. You still have to make a connection with another person on the other end. But like I say, it's easier now because all they have to do is, scroll and maybe find what you're posting, or if you make a short film or feature or what have you, people will find it. The flip side of that is there's the flip side of having so much access is that so many more people have that access. So it's like, how do you then kind of rise above? It's man, I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know what to say. You just look. I've been doing this for a very long time, over 30 years now. I'm still here. There are a lot of people who aren't anymore, but this is what I do. I'm not changing what I'm. I'm not leaving what I do. I'm I'm going to be making movies or TV shows or short form or micro cinema or whatever you want to call it. That's just what I'm going to be doing. I'm happy doing it. I like doing it. I'm doing more and more of it. So if this is what you like, then you just you have to do it.
Yep. Yeah, just do what you love. So independent cinema often excels in innovation. Are there storytelling formats or technologies you're particularly excited about, and why?
Verticals. I mean, I think verticals are great.
Yep.
I even think AI is great. So the best thing to say about that is, like, if you can be emotionally involved in an animated movie, I think you could be emotionally involved in an AI movie. And I think it will eventually get to the point, like major animated movies, there are hundreds of people involved in making them. And I think that's essentially what will happen with AI. I think there will be very large teams of people working on AI movies. You know, like maybe the distribution of jobs will be like, you know, one person takes care of this character, another does that character, or one person does the background, or blah, blah, blah. It's just like an animated movie to me. So I think it will kind of turn into that. It's just another medium. To me, it's another medium. So I'm interested in AI. I'm interested in verticals. I'm interested in anything that engages with the person on the other side. And I think, yes, I mean, of course, I love theatricals and I love going to movies and movie theaters, but I think there's a huge argument to be made that, you know, your phone, there's an intimacy with watching something on your phone that isn't there in a movie theater. And I think that that's just another way of somebody, you know, connecting with a story or characters. And I think that's completely fine. I think storytellers, really what they're trying to do is they're essentially, the big thing is most storytellers, they want to change the world, usually because, you know, they usually know what they want to do when they're young. And when you're young, you know, you're very idealistic and, you know, you want to change the world. So a lot of filmmakers are people who want to change the world. But, you know, there are people who could have also been teachers or priests or what have you. It's the same kind of inclination. And but that you know, that starts with changing one person. Usually that one person should be yourself. You should be able to change yourself. But then, like, you want to make a difference in somebody else's life, and you could do that on a big screen. You could do that on a small screen. You could do that with a movie. You could do that with a series. You could do that with a short. You could do that in 1 minute. It's possible. I mean, I've seen things on while watching, you know, scrolling, that had as much of an impact on me as, you know, than maybe 1 or, you know, 2 minutes long than a 2-hour movie has had.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I do agree with that. You know, that verticals is, I think, the new trend right now. Like, I've seen so many vertical series like happening here. I know that now India is trying to produce vertical series. Also, I heard that China has also started that recently. So it's a new involving industry, I would say. And of course, with AI coming, that's also a new trend too. What's a story you wish more filmmakers would take risks on today, and why now?
Well, I'll just go, like, you know, there was a time when, like, Steven Spielberg was, he would do like one for them and one for me, meaning he would make, you know, in the same year he did Jurassic Park, that was for them, and then for me he did the one for me was Schindler's List. I think people should, of course, you got to make the commercial, you know, big things that make money, but then you should also try and make the risky things that are might be more impactful, you know, emotionally or ethically, I guess would be a good word to say. So yeah, I mean, I think you want to don't lose sight of doing both.
Got it. Interesting. So you have helped others achieve success, but what personal project or dream are you still chasing? And what keeps you creatively hungry after 30 plus years in the business?
Right. Well, I've actually always wanted to direct. So now that my kids are older, one's in college, one's about to be in college, I can, you know, for me, it's like being back in my 20s. It's great because I can pretty much do whatever I want now, which is great. I don't have to, like, you know, always, you know, before, you know, you have to drive them to school, you have to pick them up from school, you got to go to all the events and this and that, and you got to go grocery shopping. I'm still doing all of that and do all the laundry, blah, blah, blah. I still do a lot of that, but you know, they're like, you know, semi-autonomous now, and so I can pretty much do whatever I want. So I love that. So I will get closer to starting to direct relatively soon. Not quite there yet. I just have to pay all the bills, but we'll get there. So that's the thing. And what I mean, look, I mean, you know, film changed my life. There are people out there who are true believers. There aren't that many of us, but I'm definitely one of them.
Excellent. Yeah, I know your son. I mean, I work with your son, Ethan Twardosz. I think, you know, he's a brilliant guy, right? And I can see that he has got the guidance from you, which is great. And I know that right now he's in China enjoying his trip, I think, right now.
He
right?
actually comes back today. He was there for like 2
Oh, really?
weeks. Yes, he's back today. I have to pick him up at the airport. Yeah.
Oh my God. So the same day we are doing an interview, same day your son is coming back. Interesting.
Yeah, he's on the plane right now. Yes.
Wow. Excellent. So if you were to produce a film that sums up your philosophy on life and art, what would it be about?
Well, I mean, like one of the films I love a lot is Dead Poets Society. I'm actually developing a movie that's similar but different to that. The Holdovers, I think was excellent. So my favorite movie is E.T. So I like movies kind of like that, and I'm developing movies like that.
Interesting. What advice would you give to your younger self, the one just graduating from USC Film School, that you know to be vital?
Oh boy, that's so interesting. Wow, I don't know if I should. It's more personal advice, so I can't really comment on it.
All right, no worries.
I mean, professionally, I did well, but it's hard. You can't. It's hard to go backwards. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't. It's hard. It's hard to say.
Okay, no worries. So, if I'm correct, you were born in Poland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as someone born in Poland and raised in the US, how has your cultural background influenced the kinds of stories you choose to champion, or the artists you connect with?
So I think it was a huge factor. Because English is actually my second language. Yeah, that was a massive factor because I definitely have always had the outsider's point of view. I mean, I know I'm white and I'm male, so you think like, oh, okay, but it's not, because I had to learn this language. Everything was foreign to me. My parents, remember, they're completely European. So for instance, in America, like, big sports, baseball, they didn't know what that was. Football, they didn't know what that was. Even basketball wasn't that huge for them. And mind you, this is, my mom was an Olympic athlete, and my dad was like the fifth fastest cyclist in Europe. And my mom was actually the world's fastest luge runner.
Whoa.
So, right. So, but American sports were totally different. So when you're a kid, you're learning the language and the culture is completely, utterly different. You definitely have an outsider's point of view, and, have a much different for me anyway, different difficulty relating with other kids. So yes, it had a massive impact. So I definitely, obviously I'm extremely pro-immigrant. I really like underdogs. I am, I really like helping people and paying it forward. It all comes from being born in a different country and coming here.
Interesting. And I just had no idea that your parents are like, have been in the Olympics, which is crazy. So you're saying that your dad was the fifth world's fastest cyclist?
Yeah, he didn't actually go to the Olympics. He was I guess he was like the fifth fastest cyclist in Europe. But my mom was in the Olympics, and she had world records for like luge, which is basically when you're on a sled, just kind of jetting down, a mountain. So that was her.
Wow, that is crazy.
Well, it's interesting because they were athletes and I was completely non-athletic. I was like really like into like studying and books, and I had super high grades, but that worked for me. You know, that's why I was able to get out of Michigan and go to USC because I had like a big scholarship.
Interesting. Do you see any unique perspectives that immigrant or multicultural filmmakers bring to Hollywood today?
Well, I mean, you do understand Hollywood was founded by immigrants. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I don't know. A lot of people don't realize that Hollywood is completely founded by immigrants. Period. So
yes,
there you go.
Okay. all right, sounds good. So coming back to the Hollywood industry, how has streaming changed, and what producers need to think about before a project is ever greenlit?
I mean, in some ways it's changed radically. In some ways it's still the same. I mean, it's really the same people. A lot of things operate similarly. Even though there seems to be changes. So I know that's a little, look, there used to be 3 TV channels and now there's countless, but there's only so many major services. And, when you look at Netflix, I mean, essentially that's just TV. You have to understand, it's not like a new concept, it's television. That's what it is. And it's just the resurgence of television. So everything is cyclical. I think the biggest change is what we're going through right now, which is verticals and AI and just social media. I will tell you, like, for instance, if Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton were alive today, they would 100% be making verticals, like 100%. That's what they would be doing. And they would be like internet famous. So like they would jump into that like immediately and would succeed. Hopefully, but that for sure they would be doing. So, but yeah, the industry is changing, but at the same time, it's the same. I just think if this is what you want to do, you're just going to do it, and be in whatever aspect of it.
Excellent. Do you think the definition of success in filmmaking has shifted? And if so, how should creators redefine it for themselves?
Well, that's the thing. The success is how you define it for yourself. Traditionally, if you wanted to make movies, success is, essentially like Christopher Nolan now would be that. Making original movies on a big epic scale that are meant for theaters. So that for a filmmaker, that's the ultimate form of success. Or you say James Cameron. It's very different than what Chris Nolan's doing, but he has total, auteur-like control over everything that he does, and he's creating things that you've never seen before. And so that to somebody like me who grew up wanting to be, a filmmaker, that is my definition of success. But but everyone has their own definition of it. And you could be a creator on television, create a series that could completely change somebody's life as well, like the Duffer Brothers and Stranger Things, which I think is fantastic. That could have just as big of an impact as what James Cameron's doing, or what Christopher Nolan's doing, or Spielberg. So yeah.
Excellent. Like, what current industry trend do you believe is overhyped, and which one is underrated?
Well, I don't like the word trend, first of all.
Okay.
Like generally, people who are in the business, that word is sort of anathema to us, because it's not about what's trending, because what's trending is what's now. What you have to worry about is what's in the future. So like most filmmakers or executives or who have you, they are not chasing trends, or like when you get to the point where you're chasing trends, you're not innovating. So that's not actually a word that I like to use. I look, like I say, you can only really make what you're passionate about making, and I think you should pursue that. I can't tell somebody, oh, just make movies, or oh, just write a screenplay, or oh, just do this. What I can tell people is whatever it is you decide to do, just know that you might not be doing that a year from now or 2 years from now. This might be your only shot at doing it. So really do everything that you can, take advantage of every aspect of it, put your most into it, try and collaborate as much as you can with the other people who are working with you. And, and that's really all you can do.
Interesting. Um, so I want to ask you is like, are we entering an era where producers need to think like entrepreneurs more than traditional
100%.
creatives?
All filmmakers are entrepreneurs. Absolutely. All actors are entrepreneurs. All directors are entrepreneurs. All producers are entrepreneurs. All directors of photography are entrepreneurs. Editors are entrepreneurs. In fact, I have told my own sons, and I believe this for everybody. I think everybody, like when you go to college, you should go for you should double major. So you should do business, and so film school and business, music and business, engineering and business, whatever it is. So, English and business. I don't care what it is. You should do both, because you have to be entrepreneurial. I don't, but most people, like, the mindset is like, oh, how do I get a job? That's really not the right mindset. The right mindset is how do I create a job, or how do I make it so people come to me instead of me going to them. It's all about being entrepreneurial. It's all about making yourself into like a magnet for other people. So yes, it's a totally different mindset than working for other people.
Interesting. What kinds of stories do you feel Hollywood still underestimates?
Stories?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I do think it's become far too IP driven for intellectual property. Although you can make, amazing stories within IP, like, so the big example for that nowadays is Andor. You can say important things inside of an IP. So I just would say that it's okay to make big IP movies, but just have real substance to those movies, so that they're not just empty. And spend as much time, on the cinematography of a big IP, the same much time on the craft of a big IP as you would if it was like an independent film and you were trying to get into Sundance. I think in a lot of ways people kind of give up and they just take the paydays, and they're not as artistic as they could be inside of like big movies.
Excellent. How do you respond when someone tells you a project is too niche?
I mean, I get that all the time. That's the problem is, like I mean, like I say that, I mean, Hollywood is all about people saying no to you. And it's constantly about rejection, and you having to figure out how to, circumvent it. I mean, actors get rejection all the time, writers get rejection all the time, directors, producers, everybody. It's just, how do you navigate that? How do you get a yes? So that's the trick. I mean, the way I do it is mostly I have a lot of different projects that I work on. So I don't know which one's necessarily going to go at any one time. But when you're working with a lot of different projects, it's more likely that one or more of them will, go. But I'm sure that's the same. You know, actors go to a lot of auditions before they get a yes. Writers work on lots of different things, and some of them will materialize, and others won't. It's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Okay. So, is there a genre you think deserves a creative renaissance?
I mean, like I say, I mean, my favorite movies are like, Dead Poet Society or Good Will Hunting, movies like that. I actually really like dramas, and I like family films a lot. I'd like to see, more movies like that. But like I say, there's so many different formats, and people are motivated by and inspired in so many different ways. So I can't say that. Like I said, a lot of different things are getting made. They're not necessarily getting made in the formats people think, So like, maybe Dead Poet Society wouldn't be a theatrical movie now, but it could be a series, or it could be an indie film. It's fine. Things will, rise from whatever medium or format. It just will happen. So, yeah, like I said, you can only do what you're passionate about, and hope that other people are also like it.
Okay. What's a film you admire not because it was perfect, but because it was brave?
Well, Everything Everywhere All at Once was mind-boggling to me. I was like, this is fucking great. I loved it, absolutely loved it. That was like, yeah, it's just amazing. I was like, wow, I have to go back to film school after, I like movies where I think I have to go back to, like, I remember seeing Toy Story for the first time in the movie theater. So that goes way back, obviously. But I was like, I watched it. I'm like, and I was just like kind of fresh out of film school. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to go back to film school. I don't even know how to make this movie. So I felt like that when I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm like, I don't even know how to make this movie. Wow, I have to go back to film school. So whenever I have that reaction, so I think that's one of the best movies in recent years. But another movie that I really, really loved was Parasite, because I like movies that challenge you, that are about something, especially movies that are about the human condition or real life, and that had a lot to say about wealth disparity. It's why I also really like oh my God, I'm blanking on it now, of course. What's the other the TV series? Why am I blanking on it? I hate it when this happens.
Which TV series is like a
Korean TV series?
Oh, the Squid Game.
Squid Game. So now no one's going to believe that I really like it, but I love Squid Game. I think the reason people like it is because it's about people who are in massive debt and what they have to do to get out of it, and I think that's very relatable. And that's very similar to the theme of Parasite as well. So I happen to really like those two a lot, because they kind of cut through, and you can, people can empathize with those characters.
Nice. Yeah, I do love Parasite and Squid Game. Is like, I feel like, I don't know, from my perspective, they have like similarities, so which is very interesting. What part of producing took you the longest to truly understand?
Well, I'm like now, I do have a lot of perspective now, because I've been doing this for so long, and I've seen people's careers, go up and down, and some up and some down. And I have a lot of perspective now that I didn't have before. So I would say it's the old adage that, try and be in the present, try and take stock of where you are, and appreciate where you are, and be grateful where you are, wherever you are, because things could change. You could lose that. Or, you can keep building on it, and then look back and say, wow, I'm glad, I had that perspective. So there goes Jonah moving our skeleton. I'm not sure why.
Oh, but really?
Anyway,
wait, that was a skeleton?
Yeah, it's a skeleton. Jonah, I'm like on Zoom with like a couple thousand people right now, right?
What?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I have a skeleton back. I always wanted a skeleton, so I have like a fancy, like the kind that you have like in high school.
Oh wow, that's very nice.
But he's kind of dressed up in Game of Thrones costume.
Oh really? Actually, do you have it? I think our viewers are interested in seeing that.
All right, Jonah, roll over the skeleton.
Huh?
Roll it over here, please. Keep going. There, bring it closer to me. No. Bring it right over here. No, on my right. Yes. Oh, I see. You could do it on my left.
Oh my god. Oh, that is so.
Wait. Turn it so they can see. Well, no, take the helmet. Oh, yeah. He's got like an eye patch. It's Game of Thrones.
Wow.
Show the arms. He's got arms. He's got everything. It's the thing. He's got a kind of a little bit of a candy cane right there. That's our skeleton.
Awesome. Excellent. Have you used that skeleton in your films?
No. No, other people have though.
Oh, really?
So normally when I Zoom, you don't see what's behind me. But occasionally, I don't know, somebody needed a skeleton. I can't remember what it was for actually. That's so funny. I should like look that up what that was for. It's in some movie. Somebody needed it. So it's in a movie somewhere.
Excellent.
Because it's a life size and it's like the real. It's like it's an expensive skeleton actually too. So.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah, it's not the kind that you get like at a drugstore for Halloween. Like that like it's got all the limbs and has everything you need. So. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Interesting. So that's why it's like on like a special stand. That's right.
It's on a stand. It's like on a rolly stand that, like I say, if you're in high school, it's like that. I'm not sure why you're taking that, but he's going to play D&D today, so maybe he needs it for that. I don't know.
Okay. Sounds good. How has your definition of success evolved since your early days in the industry?
I don't know that it has yet.
Okay.
I don't think it's evolved.
Okay, interesting. Well, we have one more question from our fan. I mean, my fan, who has been a fan of me for a long time, and he wants to ask you, with AI already entering in the film industry, do you think AI will take over like the film industry, and will AI take over our jobs in the film industry in the next 10 years?
I don't, obviously I can't predict. I do read a lot about it, etc. I think it would just become another medium. I think there will be a lot of AI movies, and I think that's fine because somebody's still making them. There's somebody out there putting the effort into that. I think there'll still be live action films. I think there'll be a mix of the two. It's not, I mean, the bottom line is it's not something you can control. You can't control it. You can only control what you do. So, so if you can't control it, then, why worry about it? You can learn it. I think people should learn it and maybe use it in their own endeavors, but it's another thing I can control. So, I mean, I do think films are evolving for sure. The medium's evolving, but I don't think it's going to go away. It's obviously not going to be the same. Will it be as big? I don't even know what that means anymore because it's already changed so much. I mean, just with, mostly social media has done that, and just, phones and being able to edit and make your own things. I think it's all good. I think it's all good. And I think there'll still be feature films, there'll still be TV series, there'll still be micro cinema, there'll be all of that. And there'll be AI, and there'll be this and there'll be that. And it is what it is. Like I said, I can't control it. I can only adapt.
Interesting.
Survival, I read a quote somewhere, survival of the fittest isn't about who's the strongest or who's the weakest. This comes from Darwin. it's about who can adapt. It really refers to who can adapt.
Got it. Got it. Well, for our last question, the people want to know, like, what are your upcoming films you're working on, and are there any films that you've worked on have been released already?
Oh, there's so many. There's a lot. I don't even know where to start almost. I'll give you a few. So like what I've worked on a lot of different movies. Most of them are narratives, that's true, but one that I really like, there's a documentary that you could easily watch now called The Lost City of Cecil B. DeMille. And it's so Cecil B. DeMille actually made the Ten Commandments twice. He made a silent version and he made, the big epic sound version. So the silent version was made here in California, and the set was at the time the largest set ever built for a movie, and they just kind of buried it in the desert. And it's a documentary about the man who kind of found where the city was buried and kind of excavated it. It's fantastic. So I just like that. I'm working with Bill Plimpton now, who's a famous animator. I like to joke that he's like the Quentin Tarantino of animation.
Really?
Yeah, just look. You could of his things on YouTube. He's on Instagram, etc. So his most recent short is called Whale 52, and we were just invited to Berlin to be in competition. So like you could Google Whale 52, it's number 52, or Bill Plimpton, it's Plympton, Plimpton. You look him up. He's been twice nominated for Academy Awards. He's got like 80 plus shorts. I'm working on a new feature with him, which is pretty much completed, and we just have to figure out how to release it. It's called Slide. It's an animated Western, but his, it's not Disney. It's very much more Tarantino in flavor. So it's fun. It's edgy, whatever the word you want to use, but there's tons of his shorts out there. So I'm working with him. I really like working with him. I just, I'm producing several movies right now, one in the Czech Republic, a couple here in LA. And it's really fun because I'm working with like the sons and daughters of like super famous people. And it's kind of fun to do that because, I grew up watching their parents, be in movies, and now I'm meeting their kids who are now, in their 20s. And so I'm working with them on movies. So it's pretty cool. Like that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you look me up on IMDb, you can see all the credits. A lot of them are out there. You can watch, there's a couple on Netflix, there's some on Hulu, there's some on Paramount Plus, there's some, everything, pretty much everything's on Tubi or Amazon. So there's lots of movies out there.
Excellent. And we just got one more question from our fan. They're asking if are there like any films which are big, which are being produced, which are producing by big companies like Paramount, Warner Brothers, Disney?
Not at the moment, but that's where I'm going. So I came out of the main studio system. Like I used to be an executive for Tom Cruise. I worked at Paramount for many years. I worked at Disney for many years. And then I got into indie film mostly because I was raising my kids. And now I'm kind of working my way back into the studio system. It just takes a little bit of time.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I think that's all we have today. So thanks so much, Sebastian, for being on the show. And I think everyone loved the interview. If they want to check out more of your work, where can they find you on?
Well, go to savantartist.com. You can see all the movies I worked on there. I have all kinds of things on there that can help people as well. Like actually flip through the menu pages because there's pages devoted to like breaking in all the contests that you could go to. There's all kinds of stuff on there. It comes out of like when I was teaching. So I put a lot of content on there, all the books that I like, and you have to go through those menus. Most people just don't bother going through the menus, but you really should because there's a lot of stuff on there that could actually help you. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Sebastian, for being on the show. Appreciate it. And Again, this is Jess Tv. This is your host Neil Nayyar with our Hollywood producer Sebastian Twardosz. And again, you're watching Jess Tv on Meta TV, SSH 101 TV, Roku TV, and JessFM.ca. Thank you so much for watching this interview, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.